My friend, listen carefully, for within your struggle lies the seed of your triumph. Every challenge, every heartbreak, every moment where you feel life is shattering you into pieces, is not the end. It is the beginning of a greater, unseen design. What feels like the breaking of your spirit is in truth the shaping of your destiny. You may not see it now, blinded by pain, but beneath the surface, something magnificent is being forged. Greatness never emerges from comfort. It rises from fire. You are not meant to drift with the tide. You are meant to swim against it, and when the waves crash hardest, it is not to drown you, but to train you. Every crash is chiseling you into the person you must become to carry the weight of your future success. Do not curse the weight on your back. It is the resistance that builds your strength. Do not resent the rejection. It is refining your resolve. Every time the world tells you no, you are being prepared to command your own yes. The mountain that stands in your way is not a wall, but a mirror. It is reflecting the power you must unlock inside yourself to rise. Fear will whisper that you are finished. Pain will try to convince you that you've gone too far to keep going. But those voices are liars. You were born with the ability to transmute struggle into strength, to convert defeat into determination. This moment, this pain, this breaking, it is the test that separates those who merely wish from those who will. Look at your scars not as signs of failure, but as blueprints of growth. The world does not reward ease, it rewards those who endure the hardest days with the clearest vision. So if life is breaking you now, understand, your future is being built brick by brick. Stay in the storm. Let it shape you. Let it awaken the fire within. Because the life you dream of lives just beyond the part of you that is breaking today. What feels like destruction is often construction. Every hardship is shaping you into the version of yourself capable of achieving your highest potential. This truth, though hard to accept when you're deep in the trenches of pain, is the very foundation upon which success is built. Struggle is not a detour, it is the direct path. Life, in its mysterious wisdom, does not randomly place obstacles in your way to harm you, but rather to provoke growth, to demand evolution, and to command the emergence of your hidden strength. In the same way that iron is tempered through fire, you too are being forged through adversity. There is no refinement without resistance, no resilience without trial. A person cannot develop true inner power without first confronting their own breaking point. And that breaking point, where you question everything, where doubt seeps in like poison, where you feel lost and defeated, is the sacred ground where transformation begins. You may think you're being buried, but in reality you are being planted. Every tear you've cried, every door slammed in your face, every time life pushed you down and made you question your worth, those were not meaningless moments, they were defining ones. The struggle carved out space within you for wisdom to take root. The pressure you feel is not just stress, it's shaping, it's alignment, it's making room for a larger capacity. A person who has not suffered, who has not been broken and rebuilt, cannot hold the kind of strength required to lead, to create, to change their world. We live in a society obsessed with the finished product. We admire the strong, the successful, the ones who seem to have it all together. But what we often fail to recognize is the unseen price they paid. The seasons of invisibility, the lonely nights, the rejections, the internal battles no one applauded. What we see as strength is the residue of struggle. What we celebrate as excellence was forged in private pain. You are not weak because you are struggling. You are not failing because it hurts. You are being built from the inside out. Strength is not born in moments of comfort. Comfort protects what you already are. Struggle grows what you are meant to become. If you feel like you're breaking, then you are likely standing at the threshold of your next chapter. The tearing down of old beliefs, old habits, and outdated identities must come before the building of something greater. It is the law of nature. Before the dawn there must be darkness. Before the rise there must be the fall. But the fall is not the end, it is the forge. Most people try to escape the hard parts. They run from difficulty. They look for shortcuts, exits, and distractions. But those who understand the truth, those who embrace the pain, who lean into the discomfort, are the ones who walk away changed. It's not because they were better to begin with. It's because they stayed when others ran. They stood in the storm and allowed it to shape them. There is a version of you that exists on the other side of this breaking, a stronger, wiser, more capable version. But you don't reach that version by bypassing the process. You reach it by enduring, by facing every moment of doubt and fear with a quiet, unshakable faith that this, too, is part of the path, that what feels like destruction is not the end of the story, but the beginning of a greater unfolding. When the weight gets heavy, when the nights get long, when nothing makes sense, that is when the most crucial work is happening. That is when the roots are growing deeper. That is when your foundation is being set, not on sand, but on stone. Real strength is not loud, it's quiet, it's built in silence, it's built when no one is watching, and it's built most often in those moments when it feels like everything is falling apart. This is the paradox of growth. It often arrives disguised as difficulty. The more it breaks you, the more room it makes for what you are truly meant to hold. The struggle itself is not the punishment. It is the preparation. You are not being destroyed. You are being shaped into something more powerful than before. Every moment of doubt, every crack in your confidence, every collapse you endure, it is forming the architecture of your future self, the self that does not just survive the storm, but rises because of it. Pain is preparation, not punishment. In the thick of suffering, it's easy to believe that life is out to get you, that the hardship you're facing is some form of cruel cosmic injustice. But pain does not come to destroy. It comes to prepare, to strip away what no longer serves you and reveal what you've always carried within. Power, clarity, depth, and direction. It's easy to think that comfort is the goal, that a life without pain is a life well lived. But the absence of pain often means the absence of growth, and a life without growth is a life that never reaches its true potential. Every painful experience is a teacher in disguise. It may arrive uninvited, it may bring you to your knees, but it always leaves something behind, something you needed: wisdom, perspective, strength. Even the pain that feels meaningless at the time carries within it seeds of transformation. Most people try to escape pain as fast as possible. They numb it, avoid it, suppress it, but the few who are willing to sit with it, to ask what it's trying to reveal, find that it's not a prison, it's a pathway. When you're in pain, it often feels like you're losing control, like you're falling apart. But maybe that's the point. Maybe the parts of you that are falling apart are the ones that can't carry you forward. Maybe that version of yourself was never built for where you're going. So pain steps in not to punish, but to break down the walls you built around your true self, to burn away the illusions, the false identities, the outdated beliefs. What you're left with may feel raw, exposed, unfamiliar, but it's real, it's honest, and it's ready. Think about the people who inspire you most, the ones who move you with their story, their strength, their presence. Do you think they became who they are because life handed them ease? No. They became who they are because life handed them pain, and they turned it into preparation. They didn't let it define them, but they let it refine them. Their strength was not gifted. It was earned in the quiet, gritty moments of personal trial. The same is true for you. Pain is not something to be feared. It is something to be understood. It is shaping you in ways that ease never could. There are parts of you that can only be activated through adversity. Just like muscles are torn to grow stronger, so too is the human spirit. You can read all the books, attend all the seminars, and visualize success until your eyes close from exhaustion, but nothing will train you for greatness like walking through pain with purpose. It teaches you not just what you want, but what you're made of. It clarifies your values, exposes your weaknesses, and highlights your hidden strengths. It doesn't ask who you think you are. It reveals who you truly are. Sometimes the most important doors in life only open after you've walked through the fire. You don't earn access to your highest potential without giving up the comfort of who you were before, and it's painful. It hurts to change. It hurts to let go. It hurts to stretch into something new. But that pain is the currency of growth. It is the process of becoming. You may feel like everything is falling apart, but it's often in that breaking that the real rebuilding begins. The version of you that survives the pain is the version equipped to lead, to serve, to create, to live fully. Pain sharpens focus, it strips away distractions, it forces you to confront the truth you've been avoiding, and in that confrontation you find clarity. You begin to see not only who you are, but what you must do. There's a kind of fire that comes from walking through pain with your eyes open, a fire that doesn't consume you, but ignites you. That kind of fire is the mark of someone who's been tested and didn't back down. There is no elevation without endurance, no strength without struggle, no clarity without chaos. If you are feeling broken, burdened, overwhelmed, understand that it's not evidence that you're off track. It may be the surest sign that you're finally on the path to becoming who you were meant to be. Pain is not the enemy, it's the sculptor. It's the hammer and chisel shaping the stone of your life into something solid, something worthy, something lasting. Rejection refines resolve. It strips away the illusion that things should be handed to you simply because you want them. It reminds you, sometimes harshly, that desire without discipline means little, and potential without persistence leads nowhere. Rejection is not a denial of your worth, but a test of your will. It asks the question, how badly do you want this? Not just when it's easy, not just when the doors open on the first knock, but when it feels like no one's listening, no one's watching, and nothing is moving. That's when resolve is born. When you face rejection, whether from people, opportunities, or circumstances, your first instinct may be to shrink back, to take it personally, to question your path, your abilities, even your identity. But rejection does not define you, it reveals you. It shows you where you stand in relation to your own purpose. Some people meet rejection and walk away for good. They interpret it as a final answer, as proof they don't belong. But others understand that rejection is not the end. It's part of the entrance exam. It is the resistance that strengthens the will. It is not trying to keep you out. It's trying to see if you will stay. Rejection has a way of humbling your ego and sharpening your focus. It cuts through the noise and makes you evaluate what truly matters to you. Are you in this for validation, or are you in this because you believe in the work, the calling, the purpose behind your efforts? Anyone can act bold when they are applauded, but what will you do when the applause is silence, when every effort seems to be met with indifference or failure? That is where resolve is formed. It doesn't rise in comfort. It's forged in the quiet places where grit meets grace and you decide, once again, to keep moving forward. You see, there is power in not being chosen, power in being overlooked, underestimated, passed by. It may sting in the moment, but what it leaves behind is something more valuable than approval. It leaves behind a drive that cannot be shaken. When you're told no, and you still choose to rise, you build something unshakable within yourself. You stop chasing permission, you stop needing validation, you begin creating not because someone said you could, but because you decided you must. Rejection challenges your identity in the best way. It strips away any sense of entitlement. It makes you work harder, dig deeper, get clearer. It exposes the parts of you that still doubt and gives you the opportunity to replace them with certainty, not because someone else believes in you, but because you've learned to believe in yourself through the fire. Every rejection becomes a mirror, not showing you what you lack, but what you must develop: patience, persistence, perspective. The things success demands are often things only failure can teach. There is no story of greatness without rejection. No artist, leader, inventor, or trailblazer has ever reached their peak without walking through doors that slammed in their face. The difference is they didn't stop knocking, and when the doors stayed closed long enough, they built their own. That's what rejection does. It redirects your energy inward, so you become the kind of person who doesn't wait for opportunities, but creates them. It gives you the strength to stand alone, the clarity to stand firm, and the courage to stand again. In time, the very things that were withheld from you often pale in comparison to what you discover through the process of pursuing them. The growth you gain, the skills you sharpen, the self-awareness you develop, these are the real rewards. Rejection forces you to refine your message, improve your method, and grow your mindset. If everything came easy, you would never be forced to get better. You'd never build the kind of resolve that can carry a vision through storms, setbacks, and seasons of silence. Resolve doesn't come from being accepted. It comes from refusing to quit. It comes from holding the line when everything in you wants to let go. It comes from choosing to believe in what you cannot yet see, and doing the work anyway. Rejection, over time, becomes your greatest mentor. It teaches you what approval never could. It tells you that you are strong enough to stand on your own, that your worth is not conditional, and that your dream is not dependent on anyone else's belief in it. The mountain is a mirror. The obstacle in front of you is not just there to block your path, it's there to reflect something back to you. It shows you who you are, what you believe about yourself, and what you're willing to endure in order to become who you were meant to be. Most people look at the mountain and see limitation. They see height, difficulty, resistance. They measure the distance between where they are and where they want to be, and they get discouraged. But the mountain is not there to stop you. It's there to awaken what lies dormant inside you. It's not an enemy, it's an invitation. When you face a challenge that seems too great, it is not just the challenge you are fighting. It's the internal voice that whispers that you're not enough. The mountain reflects that voice so you can confront it. It's not there to break you down, but to reveal what you've been hiding from. It's easy to think that if the path is hard, it means you've chosen wrong. But often, the hardest paths are the ones most aligned with growth. Ease teaches you little. Resistance shows you everything. It forces you to examine your fears, test your limits, and ask yourself who you're willing to become to rise above. Every mountain presents a question. How badly do you want it? Are you willing to climb when you're tired? Are you willing to believe in the summit when all you can see is fog? The height of the mountain is not meant to intimidate you. It is there to match the height of your potential. You don't learn who you are at the base. You learn it in the ascent, when every step costs energy, when progress feels slow, when the peak seems far and uncertain. That is where character is built. That is where inner power is formed. When you climb a mountain, you carry more than gear. You carry your doubts, your past failures, the voices of everyone who told you to stay in your place. And as you move higher, those things get heavier. That's when most people turn back, not because the mountain grew, but because they hadn't yet grown into the strength required to continue. But every step you take upward builds something inside you. Every moment of resistance is creating resilience. The struggle itself is making you stronger, wiser, more equipped to lead others through their own mountains. The mountain doesn't need to change, you do. That's why it stands unmoved. That's why it doesn't bend to your pace or your plan. It's not there to adapt to your will, but to call something deeper out of you. It will not make the climb easier. It will not shorten the journey. But it will make every effort meaningful. You won't walk away the same. You'll walk away aware of what lives inside you, aware of what you are capable of when there is no option but forward. That is why the mountain is powerful, not because of what it demands from you, but because of what it reveals to you. It's not the summit that transforms you, it's the climb, the steps you take when no one is watching. The days when your legs are shaking and your mind is questioning every decision. The early mornings and late nights where you choose effort over ease. Those are the moments that matter, and when you look back, you won't remember the view as much as you'll remember who you became to reach it. That is the mirror effect. The mountain doesn't just show you your reflection, it sharpens it. It shows you your capacity and forces you to confront your excuses. Some people try to go around the mountain. They look for shortcuts, easier routes, ways to bypass the climb, but nothing can replace the growth that comes from going through. Going through builds muscle, mental, emotional, spiritual. It forces you to deal with the parts of you that prefer comfort, that fear failure, that resist change. You can't ascend while holding on to what's holding you back. So the mountain will demand that you let go of doubt, of pride, of the past, and in that letting go, you gain access to a version of yourself that only the climb could introduce you to. Every step forward is a declaration, a statement that you are not defined by your limits, but by your willingness to rise above them. The mountain does not lower itself to meet you, you must rise. And as you rise, you come face to face with your own reflection, not the one shaped by circumstance, but the one shaped by decision, the decision to climb anyway, the decision to believe anyway, the decision to move even when fear whispers you should stop. The mountain will not move, but you can, and that movement over time becomes momentum. Momentum becomes mastery. Mastery becomes transformation. Endurance builds identity. Who you are is not forged in moments of applause, but in the quiet persistence of moving forward when no one is watching. It's in the decision to keep showing up long after the excitement has faded and the motivation has vanished. It's in the countless unseen repetitions, the silent battles against doubt, the mornings you rise without answers and the nights you rest without resolution. Endurance is not glamorous. It doesn't get headlines, but it creates the substance of who you become. It chisels away everything superficial and reveals the core of your character. In a world obsessed with speed, with overnight success and instant gratification, endurance feels like an outdated virtue, but it is, in truth, the foundation of all lasting achievement. The ones who endure are the ones who win, not always in the eyes of the crowd, but in the quiet space where integrity and purpose matter more than applause. Endurance demands sacrifice. It costs time, energy, comfort, and often certainty. But it gives you something no shortcut can ever provide. It gives you yourself, not the version of you that performs to be liked or hides to be safe, but the version forged in trial, tested by time, and proven by perseverance. There are moments in life when the only thing separating the person who moves forward from the one who gives up is a single choice: to keep going, not because the path is easy, not because the result is guaranteed, but because something inside says you're not done yet. That's the voice of endurance. It doesn't shout, it doesn't beg. It whispers steadily, firmly, that what you're doing matters even if no one sees it right now. And in honoring that voice, you begin to understand who you really are. Not who you pretend to be or wish you were, but who you become through effort that outlasts emotion. Endurance teaches you to trust yourself, not in a superficial, motivational way, but in a grounded, earned confidence that says, I've been through worse, and I'm still here. Every setback survived becomes proof of your resilience. Every difficult season endured becomes evidence of your strength. Over time, these small victories shape your identity more deeply than any success that came easily. You start to walk differently, speak differently, believe differently, because you've built something within that can't be taken from you. It's not tied to results, it's tied to the process, the choice to keep building, keep believing, keep becoming. Most people want results without the endurance that produces them. They want the outcome without the discipline, the spotlight without the grind. But endurance requires you to fall in love with the work itself, to embrace the discomfort, not as an enemy, but as part of the journey. There's something deeply empowering about knowing you can persist. That when the plan changes, or the support disappears, or the pace slows, you don't. You adapt, you adjust, but you do not stop. And in that refusal to quit, something unshakable is formed inside you. You become someone who can be counted on, not just when things are going well, but when they're falling apart. Endurance is what separates the wish from the will. Many people wish for better lives, stronger relationships, meaningful success, but few are willing to endure the discomfort that makes those things real. The person who endures is not always the most talented, the most intelligent, or the most privileged. They are the ones who have decided that their dream is worth the process, that the goal is worth the grind, that becoming is worth the breaking, and they know that identity isn't something you discover, it's something you build. Brick by brick, day by day, step by step, through every season, every storm, every moment that says stop, and every voice that says no. In enduring, you learn patience, not passive waiting, but active persistence. You learn how to be present with the process, how to trust timing without losing momentum. You understand that greatness is not a sprint, but a marathon with no clearly marked finish line. It's not about being the fastest, it's about having the stamina to keep going. The ones who endure are the ones who show up after the hype is gone, after the motivation has run dry. They don't need the path to be easy, they just need the purpose to be clear, and with that clarity they endure, not out of obligation, but out of a deep commitment to who they are becoming.